Okay, in this video we're going to talk about how to model the addition of integers. Okay, integers, the first thing you have to know about the word integer is that is the set, and this is how we write the little symbol for set of all the negative numbers. So I'm going to put three dots for showing continuation on forever. I'm going to do -3, -2, -1. It includes 0, and it also includes all the positive numbers, all the positive whole numbers, that is. Okay, so it goes on forever on to infinity. That's what integers are. It has all those values, including this one right here, that's 0. A zero pair is when a positive counter is put together with a negative counter. And its value is 0. Therefore, the name zero pair. So we're not going to talk about variables in this one, so I want to close this one out for right now. And let's go ahead and talk about this little shape. It says that let one white or unfilled or unshaded square equals a positive 1, and a square that's shaded inside equals a negative 1. Okay, so if you think about what a positive 1 is and a negative 1 is, and we're talking about those pictures, let's see if we can model the following expressions. Paper. Okay, and for this, I believe I have set up something here for you. So if the positives is going to be an empty square, I'm actually, let's see if I can do a square. So let's see, it's going to have to be 3 negatives, right? So it's going to be 3 of them that are shaded. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 3 negatives, plus 4 positives. And the 4 positives are 4 that are not shaded. So I'm going to do that by 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that's how you model it. Now, remember when we talked about zero pairs, right up here, about zero pairs, we talked about it being a positive and a negative counter, right? So that means that if you put a positive counter, which ends up being one of these shaded, unshaded, and you put a negative counters together, or to group them together, a positive and a negative, if you put them together, you end up with a zero pair. The value is 0. This is what a zero pair looks like right here, a positive and a negative. They cancel each other out. Okay, that's what they're called, zero pairs, because they're worth nothing. So if we come back down here to the page we're working on, this negative right here cancels out this positive. They cancel each other out. This negative right here cancels out this positive, and then this negative cancels out this positive. So the only thing left is this one positive, so my answer is positive 1. And this is how you model it. Okay, I'm gonna do the next one with you, and I'm gonna line them up vertically so that you can see how they group together. So I have 4 positives. Remember, the positives are the ones that are not shaded. So I'm gonna draw 1, 2, 3, and 4 positives, and then 7 negatives, 7 with shades inside. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now that I've done my model, you can see really quickly that there's a zero pair, and there's a zero pair, and there's a zero pair. So these cancel each other out. Remember, they're worth nothing. So the only thing I have left is 4 of the shaded ones, and since the shaded are negatives, my answer is 4 negatives, negative 4. Okay, to model this next one, it's pretty simple. You have 2 negatives. I'm going to do 1, 2, and then 5 more negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, do you see any zero pairs? Said that this was a zero pair right here. You got it wrong. Because remember, a zero pair is a positive and a negative, like this example right here. Here we don't have a positive and a negative. We have 2 negatives. So all I have left is all of them. I don't have to cancel anything. I have 2 to start off with, and then 5 more. That gave me a total of 7. So I have, in the same manner, we do the bottom one. Bottom one is just 6 positives. So 6 that are not shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have 3 more positives. 1, 2, 3. Same happens here as it happened on number 3. Okay, we didn't cancel anything. Here we cannot cancel anything either. So my answer is going to be positive 9. Alright, let me scroll down right quick. And here's the question now. Now that I give you the model, can you write the expression? Can you give me an expression that looks like the ones we were just talking about? Something that looks like this. Can you give me, that's an expression right there. Called an expression. So can you write something like that for here? Remember, the shaded ones are negatives. So this is a negative 1. This is a negative 1. That's a negative 1. This is a positive 1, positive 1, positive 1. All of these are positive ones. How many negatives do I have? 1, 2, 3. So the number will be negative. Usually we put the negatives within inside the parentheses. Okay, and we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positives. So positive 6. So this would be my expression for this model. This one, I start off with 4 unshaded, which means are 4 positives, plus I add 3 more positives. They didn't ask me to solve it. All they said was write an expression, so that's what I did. And now, when we have a number line, we have to always, always, always begin at 0. That's very, very important. So I'm going to highlight for you. Always begin at 0. First line at 0. And yeah, the first line, because the first line has to be the first number. Now we always begin here at 0. The next thing we have to do is draw the first line. Okay, first line is going to represent the first integer. That first integer will be from 0 all the way back to this next 6, because that's what the first number was. Okay, then finally we begin the second above the first line. So we left off at negative 6. Now we're going to go from negative 6. We're going to move 7 spaces to the right. Spaces. If we move 6 to the right, we're right back at 0. But we have more space. And we end up right at positive 1. Happens to be my positive 1, and we can't see that. Is the answer, because that's the end of my line. That's it. That's how you do this kind of problems. With the number line is rather easy. See if I do maybe one more. Ask 2 by yourself. So we're going to model the following integers using the number line. Remember the first number always starts at 0. So I'm going to start my arrow going to this positive 9, so I have to go 9 units to the right, positive number. And then from where I left off, from right here, from that positive 9, I move a little bit up right here, and then I'm going to move 6 spaces. Now I have to move to the left because it's a negative. So I have to go back 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. And where I leave off, my answer, positive 3. That's where I ended up. And I do want you to get into the habit of labeling your arrows. The first arrow was positive 9, so I'm going to put a positive 9 there. And this was a negative 6, so there's my answer. Make sure that you have your arrowheads. These arrowheads tell me which way you move. Without the arrowheads, I don't know if you moved correctly, if you will move left or right. So I need to make sure that you know that you need to put those arrowheads on there, so whenever I'm grading your papers, I can see what you were doing. What were you thinking? And I can help you out with the correct way if you mess up. Okay? Alright, let's see, you have two more. And I guess we can do them together because one of them is a little hard, this last one. But this number 2 here, remember I start at 0. Go with the negative 4. If it's a negative, you move to the left. So we're going to move 4 units to the left. Okay, and I'm that with a negative 4. And then right on top of that, I'm going to draw my next line. Okay, and the next line is going to be a negative 3. So I'm also going to move to the left 1, 2, 3 units to the left. So I end up with an answer of negative 7, and I need to label my second arrow with a negative. That's it. Now if you have three numbers, 5, positive 4, and negative 9, then you're going to have 3 arrows in your problem. Okay, let's take a look at that one right quick. We still have a little bit of time. Always begin at 0. Okay, from 0, I'm going to go to my first integer, positive 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. And then you go to the second number. Let me choose a different color. Okay, and the different color that I'm going to use is going to be pink. Okay, so I'm going to circle this in pink, and I'm going to start with right where I left off. So this is a positive 4, so I'm going to move to the right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it goes. And finally, I have to do the last one, which is my negative 9. So where I left off here, negative 9, I'm in positive 9, I have to go back 9 spaces. So if I'm at 9, I have to go 9 spaces back. If you count correctly, you're going to end up right where you began from the beginning. And that's going to be, whoop, that's a very crooked line. Go back and do that again. That's going to be right at 0 right here. So I'm going to label my arrows. This was positive 5, this was a positive 4, and this was negative 9. And my answer was 0. Okay, that's it. That's how you model addition of integers. If you have any questions, please write them down and ask me whenever you get to class tomorrow. Thank you.